Hello everyone. We're live. Hopefully all of you are doing well. Today is the last day that I will be working in this office, which is insane to me. Moving on, changes happening. I see Garland join. Hello, Garland. There's Eric. Let's see if we can get Eric. Hello, Michael. All the people that I'm going live with soon are coming on. That's awesome. It's going. This is crazy day. Hello.
Hey,
Gotta adjust
me,
me so that I'm in the frame.
me too.
How are you doing today?
Good. This is the first time I've ever gone live on Instagram, actually. That's probably why.
Now you get to see what
So
I deal with every day.
it is
It's all about
very, very
angles and lighting.
well, yeah, I guess lighting. I'm just I'm just really close and it's new to me. I'm like, I can't go back this far because of where it is.
Yeah.
But hi.
How's your day so far?
Uneventful. Nothing exciting, as usual. I always tell people uneventful and exciting because I just don't think I live an exciting life. And
That's
and and
that's
people
how
are like,
I feel when people ask me to do like daily vlogs and stuff. I'm like, you guys don't realize how boring my day is.
well, you can find things to vlog about, I guess. But
I spin here in my chair for 8 hours a day. This is my last day here, so I'll have to say goodbye to this beautiful chair that I've sat in for so long.
but that's exciting. It's a new thing. It's
Yeah.
a good time.
Well, I will go ahead and let you introduce yourself so people know who you are, and then we can just jump into a discussion. And I see Chelsea joined. Hey, Chelsea.
Well, all right. I'm Eric Patricato, the Sexican Dreamer. Basically, my whole thing is I'm basically vlogging my life and everything that I'm doing as I pursue my dreams and passions and learn new things and share it with the world because it kind of gives some accountability, but it also is encouraging, hopefully inspiring other people to do the same because I really believe that, we have today and only today. So yeah, that's me.
Yeah. I
Short and
mean,
sweet.
for everyone that's watching, Eric has been someone that I've been friends with for quite a while now. We became friends on Instagram first, then we connected even more on Clubhouse. And I mean, Eric is one of those people that he is the most supportive person in the world. And I honestly, like, I don't think you realize how much like you've meant to me over the past couple of months because like my life has been flipped upside down. And I actually had someone comment on a picture, I think it was this morning or yesterday, where they said that I always seem like my life is so perfect. And I was just like, you have no idea. I depend on a lot of amazing people to keep me here, and you're definitely one of those people. So I just want to say thank you for that. And I think that I'm excited about your content because I think every single content creator out there, I feel like we've all been exactly where you are, but we didn't document it. So I feel like a lot of people watched us kind of climb to where we are now, and they didn't really see the whole process at the beginning. So I love that you are like taking the time to show people the rough part at the beginning where you kind of have to fight for your spot and figure out what your spot is. And then I'm just excited to see where it's going to take you.
Yeah, it's interesting because it really is. It's a new phase in my life. It's a new chapter. But it's one that it kind of fits in with, I guess, the storybook that is me or the film that is me, but it's just a new act. And it's interesting because I always have lived my life pretty candidly. But to add the camera to it, the camera's always been a friend, of mine. And so, I used to, back in the days before YouTube, when you would like journal, like I had a live journal, I had some blogs back in the day, and I would just write what was going on when I was coming out. Even all that stuff was in blogs on the interwebs. And it's so interesting because it was easier to keep it there rather than like have a journal that somebody could necessarily, you know, or that somebody could find, which is funny because somebody could find my live journal just as easy. But I guess in the early 2000s world, people weren't looking for that stuff unless you were friends and in that community. And so it was a different world. And now at this latter age, I'm kind of jumping into what some might call a young man's game, what some might not call, some might call past, you know, and I'm just like, you know what, I'm just going to do what I'm doing and trust my heart and trust my gut. And that has never got, you know, served me wrong. And so it's been kind of cool.
Yeah. I mean, I think that through the years, you've accumulated so much knowledge and you've done so many things where you've succeeded, you've picked yourself up when you didn't succeed. And I feel like that is something that a lot of people will really benefit from. And I love the idea of kind of allowing people to see behind the scenes and the more raw version of it all, because I think that with social media, even mine, where I try to be as authentic as possible with the things that I do and sharing my most deep self with the internet, there are still parts that I kind of keep out of the light just because, I mean, it's my life and some parts are flawed. And I mean, I try to share as much as possible, but I also try to protect myself because the internet can be unforgiving sometimes. But I think that it's really cool, like the history that you have. And when it came to listening to the podcast that you did with Alex, like I was just really blown away with you kind of talking about it's been kind of your dream to do stuff like this ever since you were little. And there's people that kind of told you, like, let's pick another dream. Let's pick something that's a little bit more realistic. And even as a child, you were just like, nope, that's not me. That's not what I want to do. And I think that that's an amazing thing because, I mean, a lot of people have dreams as kids and they start to be convinced by adults that that is not realistic and they kind of give up on it.
Yeah, I've lived my life like a Kardashian, if you will, before the Kardashians were around. Like I literally, I believed that, like, I lived my world as if there was a camera around me all the time. And so I understood at a very, very young age that, you know, you share yourself, be honest, be true. And then there are those special things, just like you said, there are things that you keep private. You don't necessarily want to share with everyone, because when it's everybody's business, then it becomes everybody's business and it's not just this business between, you know, and that's a hard lesson to learn. But I mean, when I was a little boy, oh my gosh, I literally lived my life as this is just how it's going to be. I mean, it was, you know, I'd pretend, like when kids would pretend and they'd play doctor, or they'd play fireman, or they'd play teacher. I was having little concerts and I was, you know, talking to people and like I was in arenas in my head, and I was going, you know, I had my security people lead me to the back and I'd meet with my fans and like, you know, my fan club and answer questions as a little boy. And it's so funny looking back, but even then I knew not the most normal child. But what is normal, you know, and in reality, I realized that was normal. That was normal for me. And as we kind of have changed as a world, because that was the 80s, you know, that was the early 80s and hello age, but you know, I grew up in the 80s and that was a different world. And now kids are encouraged to be this way and to be whoever they want and to dream what you want. And, you know, I used to be so quietly vigilant, I think is what I like to say. Because I was so, like, when people would say, oh, well, pink is a girl color. And I was like, but pink is my favorite color. And they'd be like, oh no, you need to like blue. And I was like, I don't think so. And so like, I just was so, you know, upset at people. I'd get upset, you know, and I would not hide it, but I was so quiet and calm that it was just, people would let me be. And so it was very interesting as a child, but my aunts would always look and laugh at me and smile. Like my dad's sisters just loved me with everything in them. They just looked at me and they knew that, you know, I was special, and they let me be. And it was a wonderful thing. But yeah, this is an interesting move. But you know, I'm pursuing what I want. I've worked a little bit in film. I've worked a little bit in television. I've written, you know, but now I'm kind of finding my way and rediscovering some things, because I gave a big part of my life to like a chunk of my 30s to a toxic relationship that I really, you know, I care about the person, and they weren't so bad. They just had their issues. And I realize that now. You know, it's like there's not always, it's not necessarily a bad person, and you're not necessarily, you know, they've just been through things, and I've always had grace and understanding for that. But this person took a lot of advantage of that, and so that was tough. But to realize and learn that it's okay. Like I can love that person from a distance, or I can love that person and thank them. You know, when it's time to cut cords or cut life, you know, you thank them for the experience. It helped you kind of go to the next level in life. And then, you know, you remember that relationship, hopefully fondly. That's not a place that's easy for people to come to, but I had to, you know, because if I were to carry all that resentment and anger and frustration or negativity into my next chapter, it would have been awful, you know. And so I just, you know, one day thanked them, you know, in my spirit for everything that happened, and was so grateful for who that helped me become. Yeah, I gave away a good bulk of the 30s, and, you know, my gay death was a super duper gay death, you know. But these days they're like, oh, 40 is the new 30. And it's like, yeah, it is, you know, it's, you know, we're living pretty long. But then I also looked and I was like, technically it's middle-aged. And then I was like, well, what is middle-aged? And I'm like, I don't like that term. So, but technically, I guess if in a 80-year span, you know, yeah, it is the middle. And then I thought, you know, we're not guaranteed tomorrow. We're not guaranteed. I'm not guaranteed that extra 40 years. There's no, like, you know, it's not like that old movie in the 70s. I know, I don't think I ever saw the movie, but I know it, like Logan's Run, where they had like a date, you know, that they were to live towards. And then once that was over, they were done. And I think Justin Timberlake did a movie like that too, where they, like, I don't know, you just had a certain date. And then once you hit your date, you were dead, or you moved off into this other area. And gay death, they always said when I was a kid, was, oh, 30's gay death. And it's like, okay. But now I think people are realizing, with a new generation of people like my age, you know, especially, are having kids, you know, and looking at what really gave me hope as a gay man was Elton John. It's like Elton John has children. When he got babies, I was like, isn't he like 60 something? I mean, he has a lot of numbers, and he's lived a lot of wonderful years. And I thought, well, if Elton John can have children at that age, then I'm okay. I'm on my track. Whatever the universe has for me, it's obviously, it needed to happen now. So I'm just gonna live every day, you know. I mean, and you get that, you know, you live each day as if it was exactly what you want it to be, even on the worst days. And I don't think that's a positive, like, point of view rather than negative. It's just, it is a truth of life. And if you can grasp that truth, you know, then it's not just like, it's not about, oh, look on the bright side, you know, like that, always look on the bright side of life. I love that song, and I love, you know, Monty Python, and that's great, and it's true, and it's helped me through a lot of things. You know, when life is getting down and things are, you know, you're feeling like a failure, problems happen. It's like, you know, every failure is actually a success. You just have to flip that narrative. And it's not necessarily about being a positive person. It's about looking at things as they are and going, okay, well, if I look at this side or this angle, this is what I see. But if you walk around, you might find out that there's, you know, it's multidimensional, and hey, if you look at this other angle, it's actually, it makes more sense, and it's kind of more interesting because it is all a part of one great whole. You know, that's it's a positive thing. Hello,
I
there you
mean,
go.
for me personally, like I think that when I started to realize like the people that I kept around me were really the reality that I got to live, and I got to choose those people. And I mean, just here recently with Clubhouse and all the lives that I've been doing, and just connecting socially through a pandemic, I started to realize that having people in my life that supported my dreams and believed in me and fed me positivity when I needed it and encouragement when I needed it, like it made a shift to where instead of being as scared as I was to jump for the dreams that I want to achieve, it was more of just like talking about it. And the more I talked about it, the more those dreams became a reality for me. And before, I think I was surrounded by a lot of people that would kind of like the adults did to you as a kid. They're like, oh, well, that's a cute little dream. You might want to find a backup plan, like maybe get a business degree or something and work uh, in a job that's going to kill you slowly. And I realized that I wasn't surrounding myself with people that believed in me as much as I needed them to, so that when I was trying to believe in myself, like I was able to do that. And honestly, you've kind of been around for most of the journey of my positive talks. And I think, I mean, a lot of people that I've done lives with have also connected with you on the back end and have really appreciated your constant encouragement and believing in their dreams that they have put out there. And I think that that's an amazing thing, is we're kind of building a community of people that are boosting and believing in each other. And I feel like that's really important when you're trying to start something new. And I mean, the people that you've worked with that I've also worked with, like they're phenomenal people that on a very regular basis, like just reach out and they're like, hey, what are you doing today to move towards that goal that you've set for yourself? And it's just kind of been a nice thing. And it's kind of nice to be with someone like you where you've been along for the journey. You've watched what I have been doing, and you've pointed things out that I don't see because sometimes I'm focused on the wrong thing. And I think I've also kind of helped you by pointing out some things, just like, hey, make sure you look out for these things that are going to come at you. They got me. I don't want them to get you. So I think that just building a community like that is like detrimental to moving towards something that you really want to do with your life.
Yeah, it's that whole, that saying, you know, that your vibe attracts your tribe kind of thing, you know, and that idea. Like I was watching, I just started binging this. Well, I binged quickly because there's 6 episodes. This like flower show. It's on HBO Max, but it's a flower competition where these like florists come in and they create these huge grandeurs, like floral things, and they'll create one thing. Like there was one lady who created this. It was supposed to be like a pouring out, like they had to create a pouring out effect of some sort. And the one that she created, from one angle, it looked gorgeous. They had to make sure that they had to have their focus flower or whatever it was, really predominant in the thing. And she had, you know, she chose roses, and on one end you could see it looked gorgeous and you could see these amazing roses, and on the other end where the judges were facing, it didn't look as pretty. It was still there, but it didn't look as pretty. But the judges of course have to look around. I mean, they judge the whole thing, not just, you know, part of it. Or like even the cake, you know, decorating competitions or the shows where they like decorate the cake and it's like a full 360. They're going to look at the whole thing. They're not just going to look at one side. And when the judges went over to the other side and looked, it was just gorgeous. Like it looked so beautiful. And they were like, wow. They were like, you have to come over here and look at this. And it was really beautiful. But the other side, sadly, was because she spent so much time on the one angle, you know, and we tend to do that, but also she had a time restraint. I'm sure if she, I'm sure if she had more time, she would have, done that. But either way, that's what we do sometimes. We spend so much time working on a certain area of our life that when it ends or it doesn't work or something happens, we get so bummed out. But the realization is that look what you created, look what you have. It's something beautiful. It's something only you could do. And there's always an angle to look at. And she could have been really upset or sad that they didn't like it, or she didn't win first place or whatever. But instead, she was really grateful that like what she did create was really pretty. So yeah, it's worth to check out if you're a reality competition show watcher.
Well, now that I'll be moving to a city where I actually have access to internet in the world, I might have to start checking some shows out. I've got to try not to become a binger and actually work hard on all the things that I've been trying to do. But tell us a little bit about like what you've got like planned for your content that you're doing on YouTube and the other things you're kind of working on right now.
Well, for YouTube, it's going to be a weekly, or it is a weekly thing that is going to just be me talking about maybe what I'm experiencing, what I'm learning. Last week, or the first thing I talked about, needing to find your like what you stand for, what are your pillars, like what is important to you, and making 3 or 4 of them that are just, when you look back and things get messy, these are the 4 things that does it fit in with these things? Does this work? And then and also kind of setting your setting a sort of vision statement for yourself, and I've that'll be kind of what I do through those, is kind of talking about that kind of stuff. And it's just going to be me raw, just discussing what I'm learning. Like there's one that I have planned. I haven't talked about it yet because I'm experiencing it, and I want to experience it and then discuss it a little bit. But it's talking about becoming an alcoholic. You probably noticed that I was drinking a lot. Like I'm trying to drink more water and become an alcoholic. And because I love soda. Like it's my go-to drug. Like it's when I'm having a hard day or whatever, like I'm hoping that, when I get married, my man will know that I like chocolate and caramel together. It's my favorite, just chocolate and caramel, milk chocolate, not dark chocolate. And
Very specific.
yeah, and I love, a soda. And it's like, if I've had a hard day, or if I'm drinking one, it's like, I probably am, I've got a lot on my mind, and that is not a healthy thing. And so that's such a difficult thing to let go of, but all things are good in moderation. And so, when I go out to eat now, I order a water and the soda, so that I just, I'm kind of weaning myself off slowly. And that's, if you're drinking something a lot, you might not do that, might need to go ahead and go cold turkey. But for me, I was like, moderation, just let it go. And but I'm going to talk about that, and the difficulties. But I'm also working on a podcast that is going to really target a lot of people. Of course, that's what everybody says. I don't really want to talk much about it now, but I'm going to be doing that pretty soon. And then I'm also writing a book. Hello. I'm also working on a team who's working on a television series that's an anthology. I can't say much about that either, but so I'm doing things, and it's exciting, and I'm going to talk about these things as they happen, or release these things as they happen. But one thing after another, it's like I'm not, people are, if you know me in life, I'm the kind of person who I'm always going to surprise you, and you as you get to know me, like even like when I get married, I'm sure I'm just constantly going to surprise that person, because I'm a creative mind, and I'm also, just someone who's always doing something. And so there's always going to be something, but even just about me as a person, like, I didn't know that about you. Like, yeah. Like my mother does not know me. And my little brother, he does. He seems to know every little nuance. It's odd. but my mother doesn't. It's so funny to me because I'm like, I don't know, but yeah, so I'm always going to surprise people. And there'll always be something interesting. And I don't know, I'm just going to live out, like I said, live my life, loving what I'm doing and pursuing, what I find important to me at that time. And we'll see what happens, because eventually, family and kids is going to happen, and that'll probably thrust me into a whole other world, and this will be difficult,
Yeah.
but who
So
knows?
So before we did this live, I sent you a YouTube video, and then you asked me what my dream source was according to that TED Talk explanation of a dream source. And I told you that like my dream source is kind of helping people see like their full potential, helping people like reaching their dreams. What would you say like your dream source for what you're doing in life right now is? Because I think that you've thought about it a lot, and I think that
Yeah.
you really have like something that is pushing you towards this dream, and I feel like it's helping drive you towards all the things that you're working on right now. So what is your dream source? Because I didn't ask you that before.
Yeah, I really want, what I realized is that it came down, for me, everything comes down to wanting to bring joy to people and bring happiness. Like I want happiness and joy are two different things. I don't know if people realize that. We kind of bank them together. Happiness is an emotion that can, it can end. You're happy for 1 minute, you're angry for the next. But joy comes from a deeper place. Joy is something that you can be joyful in your heart and still be experiencing pain. Like you can, and I think when you realize that you can have true joy, and find that source, and that can come from being, again, like you said, surrounding yourself with people who are going to be affirming and help strengthening you to move to the next level, or whatever joy might mean to you, finding that and really realizing that it's from within. It's something, it's not going to come from any tangible, it's not going to come from that chocolate and caramel. It's not going to come from, like my favorite flower is I love yellow roses with red tips, because I think it's so beautiful. Like the idea of like the yellow rose is I'm from Texas, so hello. But the yellow rose actually means friendship. That's its color. And red means love and passion. And so the yellow rose with red tips actually means I'm you're my friend, but I'm falling in love with you. And I think that is such a beautiful sentiment. And it's my favorite flower. But it's like yellow rose with red tips one day, or something, like knowing things like that about people. Those are important things, because that, I think they will incite and inspire the joy that's within. Because the reality is that within me, I have joy because of the idea of thinking that how beautiful that is, and it's like, that's so wonderful. But, it wouldn't mean anything if I didn't have, something within me that was passionate about that. So it's like finding true joy, and what is true joy for you, and what does that mean? And it's like, that goes to the idea of looking inside, finding love in yourself, and figuring out, how do I do that? How do I love myself? How do I, that it's all into perspective, and it's all a journey. But when you can really, really, tap into what makes you joyful, then life becomes a whole other thing, and that's what I think I have a passion for, a heart for, is to help people find that joy, and to, like, if I can see it in you, to help pull that out, just like a little bit, and go, like if I see and I'm like, oh, he likes this, I bet he likes it, and find out why, and to know that, and to just chop it into the, into your shelf, like I've always seen the heart as a shelf. So like, I always believe that like your heart space has like, it's like these, they're a hotel, like it's a hotel. So, and I think I've told you this before, like it's like a hotel with all these rooms. And when you meet someone, you give them the key and you say, okay, here's your place in my heart, and that's their room. They can decorate it as they will. It's like going to, Vegas, and there's all the different, going to a themed hotel where they have like, this is the Elvis room, and it's all, or going to that Friends bed and breakfast thing that they have where it's like, it's all themed after Friends. And so it's like this person will take that room and they'll decorate it however they will. Now, if they decide to leave, they'll leave, but that place will always be in your heart. Like whether, that moment they shared, that time, whether they were there for the season, whether they were there for a reason, whether they were there for a lifetime, that's their spot. And they will always be able to go back to it, in my opinion. And I think that's special, and so when you find how they decorate that stuff and why that stuff is in there, then you can help them find that true joy. And sometimes people need a little help in doing that because they don't know how to find joy. And I think when you find joy, you can find real peace. You can find true happiness. You can find real, purpose. And your life can look way different. And I think people would love a lot more, it's an amazing thing, but it's not, it's a journey for a lot of people, because we're all different. But yeah. It's my heart. Joy, bring joy, inspire joy.
Yeah. I would say, like, I kind of like the analogy of like the heart being like a hotel with rooms, because I think that with time, every person that we come in contact with also, because it is our heart, that adds character to us as a person. And like that, it creates the person that we are. Because thinking back, like before I started dating people, before I met the people that I know in my life now, like I was a very different person. I was very defined by the few rooms that I had occupied in my life, whether it was family members or the few friends that I had as a kid. And as I've grown, as I've allowed people who are very unique and very different than I am into my heart, it's made me more of a unique and interesting person as well, because I've learned more about myself and what I am capable of through the people that I've met. And I feel like the rooms in your heart are kind of empty, closed rooms that you don't have access to until you allow someone to have the key and go in there and decorate it. And I feel like the room is also like something that you kind of co-decorate with that person, because you also have control of how that person comes into your life. And of course, there's going to be people who are a little bit more forceful with that. But for the most part, now that I'm getting older, I'm starting to let more specific types of people in that take better care of those spaces that I give them in my heart. And it decorates me as a person, because if that person does walk out of your life, that room is still in your hotel of a heart, and you get to choose like how to use that room now. They decorated it. Maybe you can rearrange some things in there for them, but at the end, that room has that memory of them, and you can use that memory for good. You can use it to learn, like you were saying. But I think that I'm learning that the more people I let into my life, the more I'm understanding who I am as an individual. And it's making me realize that I have like the ability to expand to an infinite amount of space if I wish to, or I can choose a more direct path, a more closed in area if I'd like. But for me, I've been growing a lot with the people that I've been interacting with. And with Clubhouse, of course, you can interact with people from all over the world. And those perspectives being added to my life just help me understand myself and the world that I live in.
Yeah, I think we're a curator of experiences. We're a curator of life and of individuals and things. And it's like, if you look at it as times and experiences and people and things and when you curate something, it means that you take it, you know, handle it with care, and you know, you display it, and it's special and it's precious. And I think that when we look at it in that way, it changes, I think, the way that we see everything. You know, when we're curating a life that we want to be lived and shared, and we want it to be something that others can grow from, learn from. You know, our experiences. I think everyone wants to, um, in their core, I think everyone at some point, in some way, truly does want to impact another person. We really, I think we are, there's this need or this desire for community that is just a part of, it's like in everyone's threading, you know, it's a part of their, you know, their makemanship or whatever. It's this need or this desire for a community. And as we search for those communities, just like you said, you know, you want people who are gonna help you move to different levels. But it's like, you know, we grow, we change. You know, it would be really weird. It'd be really weird if I, you know, found, you know, if I found like a kindergartner, you know, and I, you know, put them in my, like, you know, my regular, like, I don't, like, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but like if I was, because we can learn from children, I believe that, you know, but like,
Yeah.
but like if I made that, you know, child someone who had influence in my life, you know, from their perspective and where they've been, you know, it might be odd, you know, if I was regularly kind of looking to this child for my, you know, personal therapy, like, you know, like, well, what do you think about that? Like, you know, like, I don't think that's right. You know, like, I should be doing that for you, you know, but, you know, it's just, life is so interesting. I think we are interesting as a people. And I think if we get to know each other and learn from each other and grow from each other and share experiences and share, you know, those difficult times, share those, you know, share the good times, you know, like if we didn't have the valleys, we wouldn't understand why the mountains were so incredible, you know, but vice versa. If we didn't have the, you know, mountains, we wouldn't, you know, we wouldn't understand why the valley was so important. You know, it's all a part of a larger journey and a larger path. And that's awesome. I love that. You know, it's, life is just cool to me. And I think people are so interesting, and if I can just help love them and encourage them and help them see that too in some way when they can't, or maybe when they've got, you know, blinders on, and it's just, maybe they are the kind of person like with you and I, like, I feel like you know, we're on the same level in terms of how we see things and how life, you know, but it's like some days are just really tough, and you need somebody to remind you, hey, remember this? Like, remember, like, I don't know if you know this, but hey, and you go, oh yeah, thank you. Like, yeah, I forgot, you know, or like maybe, you know, an old friend comes by from college that you haven't seen in 5-10 years or something, and you get together and they bring you something, like, you know, they order they're like, yeah, just order pizza or whatever, and they order a pizza, and they just know your order, and you're just like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot that I liked my pizza this way, because maybe as an adult you haven't really eaten a lot of pizza. Now you should be eating pizza because you love pizza. I mean, let's be honest. But like, maybe you don't. Maybe you don't get to eat a lot of pizza, but you know, but they know your order because they knew you back then and they know you now, and maybe things have changed. Maybe you're, you know, you're a little older and you can't have as much cheese, but but you know, it's still really amazing that they love and remembered you, and they reminded you that, oh yeah, I like pizza with pineapple. Oopsies. Because, you know, like, you never get pizza with pineapple because maybe you have children who hate pineapple on their pizza, so you never order it. And you just totally forget that they like it, but your college friend knows that about you, brings the pizza with the pineapple, and you go, oh my gosh, how I forgot how good this was, you know. And it's like, just remembering, just reminding you, thank you. That's what we're all, you know, we're supposed to do. We're supposed to remind each other that this is a journey and life is okay, and you're going to be okay. You know, this isn't the end. You know, you're not guaranteed tomorrow anyway. So take a moment and breathe. Take a moment and just let it out, release it, and look for what you need now, and if you can't do that, I'll help you do that for a minute, because that's what I'm here for, and that's relationship. That's a powerful thing, and
I
that's
think
what you
that
do.
I think that something that I've learned is the power of encouragement when you're encouraging the people around you to move towards their goals. That creates like a ripple effect into everything that relationship between you and that person is. And it's been a beautiful thing to, I mean, this past year I had a couple really rough months and all my friends showed up for my birthday, and I've spent most of my life encouraging people to do what they are passionate about.
Yeah.
And I was running dry. The world was really draining me of everything that I was. And all of that encouragement that I've spent a lifetime putting out into all the people I care about came back and poured into me so much that it really just filled me all the way back up. And I think that when you were talking about like kids, it's crazy because my nephew has been living with me since he was born. And I think the reason your brother knows you really well is because younger kids look up to older people. So they observe so much of us. And it's interesting to kind of see the things that my nephew has picked up from me. That's given me perspective on the negative traits that I was passing down to him from it being passed down onto me as a child. And it gave me that time to kind of readjust and realize what I was putting out into the world, because it was coming back at me from a 3-year-old, 4-year-old. And so kind of learning from children in that sense, I think is amazing. Of course, I'm not going to go to my nephew on how to start a business or do my taxes, but to see the unaffected youth, like when it comes to bitterness, when it comes to the loss of self-confidence, the lack of self-love, that doesn't exist in children. Children don't have that. That's
You don't
something
have a filter.
we as adults pass on to them. And I started seeing that, and I was starting to see some of the things that I lacked in my life being passed on to him. And I was like, ooh, got to cut that out. I don't want that to go down to the next generation. So just taking that time to see it, because children at that age absorbed everything, like everything I do and say, like even like little things that I say under my breath, he notices and he will say later on, I'm like, where'd you learn that from? So I think that it's very interesting to kind of learn from the youth. And then of course, in the LGBT community, we don't have a lot of people in the generations above ours because of the pandemic that happened in the 80s with AIDS. I think that that generation has so much to teach generations below them to kind of help us understand our community, because we're still not taught that in our educational systems, which I think needs to be changed. But I think that now, because we have access to technology where we can do stuff like this, where we can do YouTube, where we can pretty much create like a film, we can pretty much self-publish a book at this
Yeah.
point. Like all of this stuff was not accessible to the general public before. And I think that it's important for especially minority groups like the LGBT community or other minority groups. I think it's so important for our lives to be documented, for our journeys to be observed, because that's setting some type of map for the generations behind us to follow. And the more of us that can do it, the more roads we give the generations in the future to choose from, so that they know that there is no limits to who we can be when we identify with a certain community. And I mean, being able to connect is so important and share your story. So just finding that ability to encourage everyone to do the most authentic thing that feels right to them and just go for it full force. I saw a video earlier today of someone riding a bike down like the steps, and then like last minute he freaked out and realized that it was probably not the best idea, but instead of going with it and riding through, he turned his wheel and wiped out and went down the steps. I think sometimes we just have to show people like, we're going down the steps. That's what we're going to do. And we're going to go for it full force. We might fall, but as long as you believe in yourself through the whole process, and sometimes that requires you to have a lot of support on the side cheering you on, I think that achieving those goals that we've set for ourselves and moving towards the dreams that we have had since we were kids or developed as we started gaining more experiences in life, I think that will set a good future for most of the population.
Yeah, it's the idea of fear forward. You know, it's that idea of like I always say that I believe fear is courageous playback tape. Like, you know, you had to have an element of fear at some point to be a courageous person. Like there's that point right before something great happens that you know, you have to take a break. You have to think, you know, because like you do face fear, you know, but if we just walk through it, you know, whether the result is good or bad, or, you know, what we wanted or what we didn't want, it was important for us to go through it in order to really see something. Like when I think about being a parent and everything that you mentioned, you know, like one of my hopeful goals is that I'm hoping that I can offer my children as little to have to unlearn as possible. So because there's a lot of things that I have to sort through that came from childhood, or, you know, we think about, you know, talking to that little boy inside or the little girl inside, you know, like, and one of the things that I realized, you know, pretty recently, I guess, because I follow Boss Baby Brody, and I love Boss Baby Brody. Like, he's this cute little boy who, like, he's like, you gotta shimmy, and he's like, you kiss your feelings, and he is the funniest little boy. But this little boy is me. Like, I was him when I was little. I closed my grandmother's closet, you know, her room door, and I would just look in the mirror, because she had this, you know, long mirror, and that was me. I would, you know, it was in my world. I was living like a camera. I'd check my angles. I'd play. I'd dress up. In my head, I was a poor child, so I didn't have access to a lot of things. But in my mind's eye, I had those things. Like, for instance, I was an artist, a painter, creative. So like, I would watch Bob Ross, and he had all these incredible painting, you know, paintbrushes and things, and all I had were crayons, and and so I just dreamed that my crayon was a paintbrush, and you know, and I'd sometimes I would just watch, and in my head I'd be picking up the same thing he did, you know, even if I didn't have crayons. I would just watch, and I didn't realize till years later, when I'm able to do some really cool artistic things. I was like, I don't know where that came from. And when I worked at a summer camp, I did a bunch of artistic things. I was like, I don't know. And then I was like, I learned that from Bob Ross. Those happy little trees really did teach me. But, you know, so it's interesting how we pick up all these things, you know, as young people, as children, you know, but fear is something that we learn too. And it's like, if we can learn to push past the fear and just take the experience, you know, then it changes things. Like I don't know how to swim. I mean, I know how to swim, like, you know, but I have a real fear of just like enclosed places, I guess. So like when you get in the water, you can't breathe, you get like, it's this real anxiety thing. So I really genuinely don't swim, but that hasn't kept me from doing things like, when we go to, like, you know, water parks, and there's like, you know, there's a slide, and then you end up into the deep end, you know, when I look and I'm like, okay, so it's technically 6 feet, 5 feet, so I might be okay. And so I'll take it, and I'll just like flail around, like, oh my God, I gotta get it. I'm like, get to where I can stand as quickly as possible, because I just, you know, because I want to experience what everyone else experienced. And I didn't want to seem like I wasn't going to be able to tackle what was in front of me, because what is it really? And there's a lifeguard there. So I'm gonna be okay. And so it's like set your lifeguards in place. Let yourself, give yourself your little bumpers. If you're really bad at bowling, set yourself some bumpers. And that's what your community is all about. Just like you said, your people. That's what they're there for. And it'll make the experience so much better. So I'm so thankful for the wonderful people who've come in and come out of my life. Like I wouldn't have come out of the closet or dealt with the gay and Christian thing had it not been for, which we didn't even talk about, but like the gay and Christian thing was probably the most difficult thing I've ever had to deal with. And I've dealt with a lot of things, but like that issue was so tough. But for me, on a side note, for me, that was never an issue of heaven or hell. That was more of an issue of what am I going to do with my life? But if I hadn't had wonderful people in my life to help me affirm or help me find who would say, you know what, I love you, and I can tell you're having a problem, and I just want you to know that I love you no matter what, or I care about you no matter what. You just need to find happiness and health within your heart and within yourself. And when you find that, I'll be here. And that was a friend of mine who was he was kind of my will at the time. And had he not been so open and able to say, I know that if you decide that your sexuality is a sin, or you've got to pray the gay away, or if you decide this isn't who you are, then but I just want you to know that my view on you, my heart for you, my love for you is never going to go away. If I hadn't known that, he opened up the freedom and the release for me to go, okay, then what am I going to do? He helped me walk through that door and that gate. And I don't know that he realized that he had done that, but, and so that's what I want to do for other people, help you find that part of yourself, that joy, that place, and that's what community is all about. And that's, we're going right back to that, and we're there to support each other. We're there to help gauge each other. We're there, I was just talking to a friend last night that I met on Clubhouse that we haven't talked in so long, but he once in a while creeps in, and he's grown some like facial hair, and he looks like a little rat. Like it's just not enough. And he was like, I need your honest opinion, and I want you to be truthful. And he knows that, because when we met, I told him, I was like, look, I'm always going to be honest, and I'm always going to be loving and caring, but I will always tell you how I feel. And so he knew that. So he came to me. He was like, okay, now don't sugarcoat, because I'm a kiss and kick kind of guy. Like I'll tell you, it's like I'll kiss you and say you're wonderful, you're beautiful. Mwah. Now here's what you're gonna need to work on, or like I'm gonna kick you a little bit, But anyway, he was asking about it, and I was like, well, you look like a little rat. I was like, I didn't say it that way, but I was very careful, and I basically told him, I was like, look, you look like you're gonna rob I don't know, you're ruining what's the. First I told him you look like a rat, basically. But then I told him, here's the thing, your beard or your gruff or whatever, it's what you're doing is you're when people do that, it's like a frame for your face. It's a frame for your smile, and it's this accent. And what you're doing is you're taking away from your best feature, because he has a gorgeous smile. He's got amazing features on on his chin, and it's just like you're taking away from your best feature. And so if you're wanting to find a man, then you probably should shave that. And what was funny is he said his best friend just told him the same thing, to go shave. And I was like, yeah, you should. And I was like, because you're taking away from what is so special about that part of your body. It's like, it's probably, again, it's one of your best features, and instead of framing it, you're kind of hanging it up in a place where it just please fix it. And I don't know, it's just those things. You've got to have friends, you've got to have relationships with people, you got to have friends. I'm laughing
so hard because like I had a friend who was that honest with me when it came to shaving my face. And like I try not to shave it all, mainly because I feel like I look like a child. But also, my friend told me that when I shaved it, that I looked like a penis. And so I now I'm more aware of that. I've also been told by many people on my social media, like when it comes to the facial hair here, to get rid of that. So I have a lot of people that are brutally honest with me when it comes to my appearance as well. And I'm also, I mean, my mom loves me clean shaven. She thinks that facial hair is nasty. My sister, both my sisters also are not a fan of facial hair, so I try to keep it at a manageable length, which for me is hard because I don't know how to do all that shaving stuff. I'm sure I could find a YouTube video to help me with that. But now that I'm doing lives all the time and I have to look at myself for a full hour every day, and of course with work, everything's virtual, like I notice it. And when I shave, it does remove the framework of my face, and my face just kind of connects with my neck. And I do look like a penis. So I'm more aware of it because I've had friends that have pointed it out. And there are times when I'm like trying to shave it so that I don't get rid of my frame. And then I go too short. And I'm like, oh no, the penis is back. I can't do anything about it. So I think that it's important for your friends to be honest. It's important for you to have friends that give you honest feedback because, I mean, if my face is going to be plastered in a lot of different places, I don't want it plastered to where a year from now I look back and I'm like, God, I hate my friends. Why would they ever let me look like that?
Yeah, I don't have the following that, people like yourself have, yet. And but I do know people on the internet, they are brutal, some of them, like as thirsty as some of them can be,
Yeah.
There's also the other end, there's from what I understand, just from the stories I've heard, they can be really thirsty and really like, ooh, puppy, chulo, I want you, blah, 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 let's, you're all the little fire icons. It's like, man, if I had a nickel for every fire icon I had, not me, but you maybe, but it's like, ooh, that'd be nice, but then, equally, people like to say, hey, or you don't like this, or you're da, da, da. It's like, who gave people the like freedom to like tell you whatever they want? I guess the internet just gave them the courage, and that's okay, but
you
that's
sign up
where
for
it's
that
important.
when you decide to be an internet anything. If you want
And
to put
that's where it's
yourself out
important, I
there,
guess, to know yourself and have your friends, because your friends are going to tell you those things, but they're also going to tell you from love, and they're going to also help you say, well, how about this? Let's try this, like maybe try a little makeup, maybe try this, that's what friends are for. Your tribe is important, and they change. You move. You're moving right now. You're going to meet a new tribe, meet a new world, a new group of people. You're not going to have that little baby boy at home, to play with anymore. You're going to be going home and you're going to be like, whoa, hi, pillow. Like,
what do I do now? I don't have a 4-year-old running up to me and telling me that I'm going to be Gandalf for the night.
Yeah. So. Like, what do I do now? Where's my time going? And so you're gonna create a whole new world. Yep. So you just go and be Aladdin and grab your Jasmine. You know what I mean? Just go find that whole new world.
So my question to you is, do you have a GoPro?
I don't.
So I think we're going to need to do some type of fundraising, whether that's an Instagram live with a fundraiser, since we got the badges now here, or something else. And we're going to get you a GoPro so that you can take us on your swimming lessons. And also, I want one strapped to your head when you're going down the slide. I also want one that's like out so that we can see your facial expressions when you hit that part. Because even like I know how to swim, and that bottom part of those water slides, like that is, I don't even know what my facial expression.
It's things like aggressively going up your nose, just like oh.
Oh, I think that that would be a really fun YouTube video for you. I think that that
Wow.
needs to be a thing. I mean, I got one like when I was working for Best Buy, I got to like be top in the company, and they sent us to Puerto Rico, and they gave us all GoPros to like record our vacation. And so I've got a GoPro. I might just send it down to you for temporary use so that this video can come into existence. But I feel like that would be a really fun one to do.
I would do that. Like I do have a goal. Like I do want to learn, how to properly swim because if I want to have kids, I want them to be able to learn, and I need to learn, and I'd like to learn before them or with them. But I really hope that I have someone when I get married. I would like them because I'm sure that I've got to trust them with everything in my life. So maybe I'll be able to trust them enough that they'll be like, okay, we're going to teach you this because we want to go and like, I want to jump off the like cliffs, I want to go cliff diving. I want to do some really cool things. Like I want to do those things, but that's not going to happen. Like, it's just, I don't know how deep that is. I don't know so hopefully, I fall in love with someone who loves the outdoors like that enough, but also loves me enough to go, we're gonna make a goal. We're gonna make a
Get out
vacation.
of your
We're gonna
comfort
go
zone.
here and now we're gonna teach you and we're gonna go through this process so that you can do this and we'll do it together. And so I've kind of I personally have I didn't realize that I'd done this, but and somewhere in my mind, I had just, that's one of the things that I've offered and said, when I get married, this person gets this. It's one of those special things. So if you're out there, I'm taking applications. Okay.
I just feel like if you can find a partner that's just like, I mean, I feel like you would be a fun person to do all those things with because you're one of those people that even in moments of uncomfortableness, you are still like a positive, fun person to be around. So I just feel like taking your followers as well on that journey, I feel like that would
Yeah,
be just so much fun to watch because, I mean,
we'll
this
see.
weekend I wish I had recorded more because we went to my favorite hiking spot here in Virginia, but it is still freezing cold here. And my favorite hiking trail has this beautiful swimming hole, and my sister and her friends got like full body in. My other sister that I'm currently living with and myself, we like got our legs wet, but like that water was like it burnt. It was so cold. And I wasn't about to get in, but I was like, that would have been fun to just like GoPro that moment because I mean, I filmed them jumping off because it was their first time doing it. So I have that footage that I could share. But I feel like stuff like that is just stuff that there's people out there that don't get those options, whether they don't live near that type of stuff or they live in a part of the world that that's not acceptable. So sharing those types of things. And I also think like the journey to find a partner is also
That's
something
why
that
I'm
we can
just,
all relate to because I mean, partner searching is not easy. And I think the more you understand yourself, the easier that becomes, or at least that's what I'm telling myself since I'm still on that journey myself. But I
which
think that
surprises me. It amazes me because you're an incredible guy. Like, I don't know why people don't know that. Well, people do know that. You get a lot of those little lit things, I'm sure. Like so
well,
let's be honest. Let's look through your comments. People,
I think that with that also, like when you know yourself, like you become more aware of what you're looking for. And I mean, I wouldn't say that I'm picky. I just, for me personally, I really want to date someone that knows themselves as much as I know myself and also wants to learn more about the world and grow as a person. And that is where I've found is really hard to find someone because I feel like as I'm growing, a lot of people I've tried to go on dates with, they don't like that. And they want something that's known and I'm not known. Like I am different. There are definitely core values that I've stuck with. Like I saw a post that I posted 9 years ago, which is like still my getting to know me phase, but it was like this beautiful post about like transgender people deserving to be treated equally, and however they choose to identify, we should respect that. And I was blown away reading it. I was just like, wow, that's something like I would write today. And I was like, that's some early 20s that I I still feel like I'm growing and becoming more educated in the LGBT community, but I was blown away that young me was still the activist that I still am today, because I feel like I've grown so much. But looking back, like that person was still there. But it's very interesting when it comes to adding other people to your life, because uh, I need people that want to see me thrive and grow and become a new person every day. And that's scary for a lot of people, especially where I live, where um, it almost seems like people like the idea of sameness every day, hearing
Yeah.
day in and day out. Like, so for me, I think that it's just becoming the most comfortable with myself and just finding people that are the same, because I don't want someone to conform to me and my lifestyle. I want them to stand like a rock in who they are as a person, and we will grow together. Um, but I think that that is something that more people should look into as people. Like, find yourself first, and
Yeah.
then find someone that's also themselves, and create a beautiful life of like uniqueness together and grow in that way. uh, Too many people want to put cages and chains on people, and I'm definitely one of those people that as soon as you try to lock a door on me, like I'm like, bye. Like, I'm the type of person, I'm super loyal to a significant other, but don't tell me I can't run after my dreams. Like, that's an
Well, it's like you know your core values and who you like. The reason that that 20-year-old person is the same is that it's at your core. You know, that's who you are. It's like you can't change the properties of a particular flower. It's like a rose is always going to be a rose. You know, but you know it's that saying, a rose by any other name will still smell just as sweet. It's always going to be a rose. It's always going to have thorns. It's always going to, you know, whether the colors are different, but the properties and the smell will always be the thing that makes that thing a rose. And as it grows, as it blooms, as it blossoms, you know, and comes to, you know, comes to whatever it is, you know, the way that yellow rose that has the red tips, it's actually a process that makes it eventually becomes this orange think rose or whatever. Like, it grows into something else, but that's a particular part of the process. And it's really interesting, you know, and we do that, you know, and I think that that's what you want, you know, as someone who understands their core values and understands their themselves, you know, and understands where they come from. Why do I do this? And you want to go on the journey and help them do that as well, you know, because we learn that stuff. And I think that's, you know, that's awesome. You know, that's what we all want, you know. And it's like you really, I think the what I when I think about finding yourself, it makes me laugh so much because it's like I believe that when you're on a search for yourself or finding yourself, it's like when you have like when you get older and you have reading glasses and you know like the people like your friends will flip their glasses above and just leave it and they'll be like, I can't find my glasses anywhere. Where are they? And then the kid will come by and be like, Mom, they're on your head. Oh, you know, or like they have it on a string and it's like, oh, there they are, you know. And you're looking everywhere for like, it's not like your keys that can be lost and you have no idea, but it's like your glasses or something, you know, where they're like, it's right there and you right in front of your face and you just don't realize it. So it's like the search for yourself is I think the most easy and the most difficult thing to do, because it's difficult because you're so busy looking at all the other stuff that you can't see what's right in front of you, you know. And it's like it's already there, and it's and your core, it's who you are. So I'll leave you with that because I think that's a nice little spot.
Yeah, I was listening to the Frozen song "Show Yourself" on the way home yesterday, and it hit me like how accurate that song is, because like at the beginning of the song, she's asking the voice to show themselves, like she wants them to be like, "Hey, here I am," and then like at the end of the song, Like, it's saying you are the one that you've been searching for all of your life. And like, I got a little teary-eyed because like, I feel like I'm at that moment in my life where like for so long I've been asking like the world to present my life for me, like show me who I'm supposed to be. Gosh, just do it. And in that song, she's just like, you're the one that you've been searching for. And I was just like, tears just like dripped down, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like that is true. Like the person, like the thing that I've been looking for is who I am supposed to be. And I've been that person, and I've been there for myself the whole time. Like every lyric in that song, I'm just like, oh my gosh. And it's so interesting when you revisit like a lot of Disney songs, because like even like when it comes to How Far I'll Go from like Moana, like that song.
Oh, that song gets me every time. I'm like, oh,
I'm like sitting there like,
I'll cry every time I hear that song. I don't care.
just like every road, every path, like everything is like leading me to this spot that I'm being told I'm not allowed to go to, but like I know that's where I'm supposed to go. And I feel that one too. Like there have been so many signs that literally every role I've tried to do that other people have told me I'd be good at, I somehow morph it into exactly that life coaching career, that job that I'm helping people at. Like even when I was like a brand new employee somewhere, when someone else became a new employee, I wanted to be the one to help them like transition into that space. When I have friends that are trying new things, I want to be that person to help them like fall in love with it and succeed. And I was just like, maybe I need to just like get in that freaking boat and go into that freaking ocean and ride into that sunset that is meant for me, instead of keep asking more people to like give me tasks and jobs on the island that I don't want. Like I don't want to be on that island. And I was just like, there's so many like inspirational lyrics in Disney songs that are like meant to inspire.
Well, like the only boundaries that get in our way are the boundaries we create for ourselves. Like the world is boundaryless, and it's interesting. Like, how did we get that boundary? How did we create that? And how can I be courageous enough to break past that? And it's like this, that idea, like Chanel said, that before you leave the house, make sure you check yourself and take off one accessory. It's like edit. That's what fashion's all about. And it's like personality is the same way. It's like sometimes we create this persona or these masks, and we put on this idea of who we are, and it's like eventually you're wearing all this junk that leaves you like the little boy in A Christmas Story. He's like, I can't move my arms down. It's like you've got all this stuff, and it's like, remove those things, remove those masks, and it's when you were talking, it reminds me of because I have a TikTok that I haven't done yet. I actually think I might make it a reel instead, but it's a duet with Dewey's piano bar. I love Dewey. Anyway, it's a reflection from Mulan, because this I love that song, but it's like this idea that it's like, she's like, who's this person I see? It's like staring back at me, and she's looking, and she's like, when is my reflection gonna show who I really am? And it's like, your reflection is who you are. All this stuff that you put on, this these accessories, these masks that you're hiding behind, they're still that person. They're aspects of who they are. Just start, that person is really there, and that's what I learned in dealing with the gay issue. When I dealt with that, I realized that I was being, when I was going to regular, my normal church, and I was like, here I am being this person, but by there, it's like, I'm going to pray the gay away and I'm going to be okay. But I didn't truly believe that. It was a mask I wore. And then when I go to the gay church, it was like my presence there basically said, I'm gay and it's okay. And I think, rah, rah, me. But I didn't feel that inside. Like, I didn't know that I believed that. And then I'd go home and I'd remove all the masks, and I would be just me and Jesus. And I would just cry myself to sleep, and just or just praying and writing in my journal about about how I didn't know, who that person was. And the realization was just look, like that person may wear all these things, put on all these masks, put on all these accessories, but the accessories, as much as the 80s taught us the accessories make the man, the accessories do not make the man. What makes a man is what is built up inside. Again, it goes back to those compartments in the heart. It's the community that we have, the people that we have. That's what makes the person and makes the man so special. And Mulan had to figure that out, that who she was inside, all that junk wasn't who she was. When she had to wear the makeup and be all girly, and when she had to take off the makeup and be all manly, and it's like, when can I just be me? And it's like, you can be you wearing any of that stuff, because the reality is that you are you. You're just wearing that stuff, and that's a hard separation to learn. It's a hard thing to grasp. But when you do grasp it, especially, again, going back to surrounding yourself with people who know that part of you, who can kind of go, take that off. That is not you. I know you, and that's not you. And that reality is true, or, because when we're teenagers, I remember after I got baptized, I was wearing I had the best looking, like I had this incredible sweater. It was very 90s over, it was big, and we had been at the beach or whatever. And my hair was just the way I loved it, and I just was like, this is me now. I know who I am, like, even though that wonderful experience of the baptism, I felt like a new person. But I was like, this is the new me. And I realized that it's like, is it, like I was putting my personality, I was putting myself, definition, if you will, in the stuff. But that didn't make up, like, the change was within. The change was in my heart. The change, it wasn't it wasn't the sweater, it wasn't the hair, it wasn't anything, and we do that in high school. We try to find ourselves, like, whether I'm goth today, this is me, or it's like, I'm a countryman, this is who I am. It's we put on all these aspects in our journey to find ourselves. As creatives are fun, as they grow up, because they do, it's like one year they're a cheerleader, and then the next year they're so anti cheerleader, it's not even funny. It's like, as a parent, you go, I don't know who my child is. And you have to go, but you really do. That they still are that little one, like my little brother, when he made big changes in his life and became kind of gritty, icky, like he became difficult. But I know him, like, I still see that little boy who is generous, and he's loving, and he's kind, and he really does care about people. And that really is who he is. And I still see that person. He's just got a lot of other stuff, and that's okay. Stuff is stuff. We all got to have stuff. It's the world, stuff. But I know deep down inside, he's going to always be still that gentle and loving and kind person. He may not show it to everybody, but I know it because I got to see it, and that's special. So surrounding ourselves with those people who can see that, when we don't see it, they'll remind us, and that's so important. I love it.
Yeah, I think that when you were talking about kind of like masking, which, I mean, the song Reflection, I think that's like an anthem for the gay people for sure, especially like when it comes to all the letters of the LGBT community. But like, I think that when it comes to what we wear as accessories to ourselves, when you discover accessories that are there to complement your beautiful features and your uniqueness, I think that that's when you really start to shine. Whereas before, when we were younger, we wanted to blend in, we wanted to fit in, we wanted to be part of the crowd, and we would hide our uniqueness with accessories and clothing and things that weren't us. And I think that as you get older and you learn to start to celebrate your uniqueness, that's when those accessories come in handy. Like if you want that big golden bracelet that shines, if you need those big sunglasses that just, like, as soon as the light hits them, they just like reflect glitter and shimmer everywhere. And if that like is you, that's your personality,
You
like
do you. Go out
it
there, be
fits.
fabulous.
People know, like, I think that like kind of comparing, like, I always look at David in Schitt's Creek, like his outfits are really out there, but they
They're also very
compliment
hot.
him. They yeah, they compliment him exact, like his personality matches and just is complemented by everything that he does. And I think that that's what we all should strive for when it comes to what we are presenting to the world. Is we want to present things that just represent and radiate us and our authenticity and our uniqueness. And I think that once you discover that, uh, people have told me that like the stuff that I'm wearing now matches my authenticity, because most of the stuff I wear has just like big old letters across it that tell you exactly how I think you should be feeling right now. Like, I think you should be resilient. I think that you should show love no matter what. Like, I love the brands that have been reaching out to me, because as soon as I see the stuff that they're presenting, I'm like, yes, that is exactly how I feel. So I think that I have found what complements me well. I think that
Mhm.
like I've started to become more attractive to things that complement who I am as a person. And
Yeah.
I mean, before, yes, I remember trying to wear the country boy stuff to blend in there. I've tried to, I never had a goth phase, but I did have like go through like the whole phase. I mean, I'm wearing Abercrombie and Fitch right now. That was a phase, but also reconnecting with that brand in a way that's more representative of me as a person. Like, flowers are kind of me, but I think that it's just all about finding what is really you, and then removing the rest. Like, you don't need
Yeah, and
to.
you find that person, and and you want to find the people again that surround that. Like for instance, when David got proposed to, I wouldn't have thought, to have like all the rings, but he's, Patrick knew, and it's like it's special. It's like when you surround yourself with people who know those details about you, it's special. Like if he hadn't have gotten one that had all the rings, it wouldn't have been right for him. He'd be like, we're going to buy 5 more of these, right? Or like it's just you find those people who can see that about you and recognize those things and help you, stay true to that person, and to find yourself at your core. And yeah, we do spring cleaning. Like I'm actually trying to shrink down right now because I have a large wardrobe, and it's really tough, but I'm trying to get rid of things that, it's that whole, what is her name? The where she's like, does this bring me joy?
Just
And
outfitted her book.
yeah, yeah. I forget her name, but anyway, it's that idea, like, thank you for serving your purpose. Now move on, and it's like, I'm literally going through everything, and I'm like, oh, it means so much to me, but it's not moving forward in my life. This is not going to serve where I'm going, and there's that whole idea, dress for the job that you want, and it's like, who am I and what do I want and how can I simplify, because I got a lot of stuff. And sorting through your stuff is one of the most difficult things we can do in life. And
I
that's going to be a video.
I
You'll see.
literally Googled, I think it was yesterday or the day before, how many pair of pants should the average man have? How many shirts should an average man have? How many hoodies and jackets? Because I have so many, because I've accumulated so much stuff from people giving it to me and sending me stuff, that I remember the TikTok that I sent you, or the reel where they have that music where it's just like, and their outfits keep changing.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm going to do one of those
You
with
need to.
all my extra stuff that I have now, because a lot of the stuff I wear once for the photo that they need me to post, and then I put it in a box. So I'm going to go through that in my new apartment, because I've literally got like the boxes that are like this big, and they are literally so big, uh, that I've got like 6 of them full of shirts that I probably won't ever wear again. So I'm going to do some reels where I'm doing like the outfit changes, and then I'm going to be doing some type of like eBay bidding, silent auction type stuff for all of those things, just to give it out to people that are interested, because everyone's been asking where I get the shirts and they want the shirts. And I'm like, you know what? Have mine, because I can't. My apartment is a lot smaller than my house, so I can't keep all of it. And the answer, like, you should have 2 weeks worth of clothes, like 1 week's of clothes to be in the dirty clothes to wash, and then the other week for the clothes that you're gonna. So like, I've got far too many clothes. So
I have this problem, like when I'm doing, I'm doing this getting rid of stuff thing, but I also have this problem where, like, the reason it's like it creates real estate. It's like what's taking up real estate. Oh, I can get rid of this so that I can get more. And like,
oh no!
Then when I get more, it's like, oh, so much more stuff. And what did I do? How did I accumulate this? And it's like, get rid of it, get rid of it, get rid of it.
I had, like, in my apartment, there's 2 bedrooms, and one had a walk-in closet, and one had just like a regular, like, 2 foot deep, 3 foot, however deep a normal closet is. And I claimed the walk-in closet because, as the gay male in the family, my lesbian sister doesn't have as many clothes as I do, or stuff. So, but I do. That the room is way smaller than what I currently have, and I'm purposely getting rid of it without any intention of replacing it with anything. Of course,
people wonder why, like, gay people look alike. The truth is, it has nothing to do with what they like. It has to do with the fact that your closet gets doubled. So it's like, if he's the same size as me, then we're good to go. And that's secretly one of the reasons, not the only reason, but one of the reasons I really am working on, eating healthy, losing weight, doing that thing, because it's like, I want to be with somebody who I can share the closet with. And, my ex it was so funny. He was not someone he grew up in a foster care world. So, like, he was not somebody who had a lot of things. And so he was always like, get rid of it, get rid of it. We don't need that. And I was like, I'm an emotional hoarder. Like, I'll be like, oh no, this is for this and that. And I learned from him how to be able to just throw stuff away. Like, it's just shit. Like, it's just stuff. You don't need it. And so I learned how to do that from him. And I have him to thank for that. And so when I get married, that person is going to have that ex to thank, and so, and that'll be a good thing, because now I know how to just look at something and go, meh, and like, because the reality is that you have the memory, and that's great. Maybe you have the pictures, and that's wonderful. Now you can go give that to somebody else, or you can go ahead and toss it. Like, bye-bye. But I'm still excited about extra real estate in my closet, not gonna lie. But I'm kind of too broke to worry about that right now, so it's gonna stay pretty simple for right now.
Yeah. As I'm transitioning into a full-time content creator and entrepreneur, like, I'm having to make sure that my life choices reflect the possibility that income might not be as steady as my corporate jobs I've had in the past. So I'm definitely changing my mindset around things and things.
Well, it's like, how many hoodies can I have?
I don't even need a mattress. I've got enough hoodies to make a bed. I've got enough hoodies where I can make curtains and throw blankets.
I can make a quilt. Let's make a quilt out of my hoodies. I've got so many.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
It's how many things can you have? We are a blessed culture and a blessed people, and that's a good thing. But especially for those who grow up less blessed, or people who, this is where the positivity thing comes in. But it's like, there are people, again, back to foster care, they carry what they have in a bag, and it's like, when you start to notice and realize things like that, it makes you grateful, it makes you excited, and it makes you really see, again, it's that angle, the realization that life's okay. You've got this, and you're gonna get this, and it's okay. It doesn't make what you're going through any less, difficult. But let's talk about gay people in another country and how difficult it is there. Whereas now we're able to, like, I'm able to go out and I can get married. I can't, I'm fighting for certain rights or whatever, but in other countries, they can't even walk outside together. It's like they've got to hide. And so it's tough, so we're blessed. We're a blessed people. That's a good thing.
Definitely. I think that this is a great place to wrap up. We've gone for
Yeah.
an hour and a half, which was awesome. I'm glad Instagram doesn't cut me off at the 60-minute mark anymore.
Me
But
too.
I get to pack my office up, and this is my last time seeing it. So
Aw.
I'm glad we finally got to do a live together. I'm looking
Me too.
forward to everything that you end up doing in the future. Hopefully we can collaborate and do a lot more stuff in the future as well. And
We're doing a live when it's a new beginning for you, and it's a pretty new beginning for me. So it's
perfect
nice.
timing.
It is. That's how the universe works. Thanks, universe.
Awesome. Well, have a
Aw.
good night, and I will talk to you
Yes.
soon.
Okay, bye, Curious.
Bye.